It's Astrology Roast. I think it needs to sound like a shitty intro, like a funny shitty intro.
Hi everyone and welcome to your latest episode of Astrology Roast. Today I'm joined again by wonderful co-hosts. We have Laura, a natural on the airwaves, who's joining us, and who I also work with, and Etai, who he doesn't really need an introduction, so he's mystery man.
We never really specified our relationship.
No, it's ambiguous. We're siblings, but not related. So today we are going to have a little quick exploration into the star signs and what they're like in the workplace. We've had a lot of people talking about different star signs that they work with and how much this person annoys them or they're drawn to this person. So we thought we'd just jump right in and have a bit of a exploration. So your most annoying, frustrating star sign to work with, past, present or future?
Well, I know straight away.
Yeah.
So it's a Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Surprise. Leo.
Why?
Self-indulgent, has unrealistic ideas, doesn't think things through, and it's just really risky behaviour, and I don't like it.
And three more words that I want to add to your very spot-on description. Me.
That's it.
Yes. Instead of work, me.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's all about them. It's all about like what is the job, like what is happening today and how it relates to me. I would have to go with the Virgo, even though I would say that as an Aries, which is a very like achieving sign, I love working with Virgos because they're fucking into like getting the job done. But I think my problem with Virgos is when they are my boss. And I used to work in a cafe and the boss was a Virgo, and he was literally at work like inside our assholes, like trying to see what we're doing all the time. And then he would go home and he would log on to the cameras and he would call us and be like, don't sit there. Or like, there's a little tiny spot on the bench, clean it. Or like, he was like the most Virgo-y, eyes everywhere. He would literally be in one room and he'll like give criticism of something that's happening in another room that he's not in. I was like, how do you even know that it's happening right now? Virgos, they're just like, I can't even. I cannot. I'm unable to even.
I'm now thinking about a few different star signs that I've had as managers in the last little while. So similarly, Leos to work with, I've always found very interesting, more often than not challenging. I play music with a Leo and we are like family, but we do disagree half the time. But I also, having had a Leo manager that writes their big ideas on serviettes and then loses the serviettes, and this is like, quite a serious workplace. I've always found that to be really, really terrifying. And usually with Leos who are your business partner, your manager, you get really excited in the beginning. They promise you everything that they're going to do. It's going to be amazing. And then you realize it's all fluff and bluster and you're quite alone in the workplace. So definitely Leos are quite tricky.
I just want to say,
yes,
sorry, that you mentioned Leos writing things on serviettes and as a bad thing, but I just want to point out that J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter on serviettes and she is a Leo. But as a classic Leo, she gave Harry Potter the same birthday as her, which is like, I'm gonna write these books. They're gonna be bigger than the Bible, and their hero is gonna have the same birthday as me, and I'm gonna write it on serviettes. And classic Leo. Sorry.
Yeah, and Jennifer Lopez, it doesn't take much for me to remember. She's amazing. She's a Leo. She owns it. So I do love them, but in the current context, or in different contexts, they can be challenging as managers. I've also had a Scorpio manager before that, was typical Scorpio, mysterious, manipulative, shady. I would come to work and she, even though she had her own office and her own desk, she would just sit in my desk and there was no desks for me. I had no computer. So I would just hang around for a bit. And until I got so overwhelmed, I was like, excuse me. And she just slid her little chair around and goes, do you have a problem? And I thought the problem was quite clear, that I didn't have a computer or a desk, and she has her own entire office. But yeah, so that was really tricky, but that, Scorpios can be quite inspiring and quite charismatic, so they can manage really well. Also, Aries, to work with or to work, alongside or under can be really tricky because they can be demanding and they need stuff to happen now. And usually I'm really all over the shop because I'm an air sign. It's tricky for me, and I'm very indecisive. But having said that, being around other air signs who are indecisive, nothing gets done.
It's true.
We
it's
just
hard.
chat. We chat.
But that's why I feel in Aries and in Gemini.
Laura's nodding, going, yep.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, Laura, who is a colleague of mine, a superior colleague, she trots along into the office next to mine, comes and says hello because she wants to have a chat. But as soon as it's over, as soon as she's done, she's gotten her utility out of me, she's just like, nah, I have to go. Like, this is too much because we're wasting time.
We are. It wasn't constructive.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you love it.
I do. I like my 5 minutes of sitting with you, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
I'm a cigarette break for people.
I would imagine is a Capricorn like deciding to have a break and like starting a timer for like, okay, I have a 5 minutes break, like timer, 5 minutes.
That's what happens. Literally, that's what happens.
I, as an Aries, I would agree with you. By working with an Aries, I think is not always easy because we put everything aside, like our needs, like for sleep or food or drinks. It's just like, I'm excited. If I'm excited about my job, like I don't need a break, and it's just, and I expect the same from everyone, and everyone that's like not completely 100% into it is like to be slacking off.
But you're very clear. I find Aries can be very clear when you're not meeting the mark.
It's true, and also they don't necessarily need to be collaborative, so they can take something on, but that also could be a negative. But I would love to work with. I used to work with a Gemini, and we would literally we would go on YouTube and do twerking workshops at the office when no one was there. She was like, we would just sit in the office and just bounce off each other and do no work, and we were just like practicing how to twerk and talk about like how if you start running for a month, like your fungus in your body disappears, and just like all these conspiracy theories that she provided. And then she quit school and quit job and started to be a Pilates instructor. So classic Gem.
That's it.
Classic Gemini.
What about the other star signs? Has anyone had any other experiences with colleagues or managers? Maybe a water sign? I had one water sign I worked with that made a lot of pot plants all the time and was into mosaics.
Oh, God.
Making mosaics and making craft.
I had a Cancerian. I had a Cancerian co-worker in my previous job, in a phone when people call you for advice regarding your schooling, nothing serious. And she was a classic Cancerian, so every professional comment that was made to her was a personal attack.
Yeah.
So if you asked her to do something and she didn't, and you just reminded her kindly, she was like, I know you hate me, stop talking about me behind my back. And I was like, no, you just said you're going to print it because you're the only one that has access to the printer and you didn't. So one time she cooked this thing in the office. It was like a slow cooker thing, and there was cauliflower in it, and if you cook cauliflower it sometimes can smell like farts. And someone came in from another office and she was like, ooh, it smells like shit in here. And my Cancerian colleague, which she just lost it, like obviously she didn't respond, but the second this woman left the room, she was like, I'm done with this devil woman. She called my food shit, and she never spoke to her ever again. And that was like,
wow.
Yeah. But it was like, you're cooking in the middle of the office cauliflower.
Yeah, you're cooking farts in the office.
Yeah.
But that's working with the Cancerian. They take a lot of your issues very seriously.
I find that Libras are very challenged with balancing emotions.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. So
oh my God, you don't need to tell me twice.
Well, because of what I do, I'm sort of like a team leader, so I manage people as well.
Capricorn.
I know. And so I have to manage a woman who is the sign of the Libra. And that is really, it consumes most of my day.
Wow.
Yeah. God love her, but just the need for gratification and to make sure that she's doing everything okay.
Yes, the need for balance.
Yes.
You're okay.
Oh my gosh.
I tell you what, a Libra's wet dream is to be on a leash and like having someone telling them you are a good Libra.
Yeah.
They just want validation like no one else does.
Yeah. And I don't really like giving it. Like, just you should just know that you're doing okay.
Yeah, if you
I'll let you know if you're not doing okay.
You will.
I'll contact you.
You will.
Yeah. Well, that's something you can count on a Capricorn to tell you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, Capricorns, they'll say something and it's full stop. There's no exclamation points. There's no XXXXXX. It's just full stop. You might not even have anything at the end of the word. So it'll be great or nice job.
Yeah.
Nothing around it.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like a Libran or some of the other star signs, maybe even a Cancerian, need a couple of exclamation points or a smiley face, which I put on all my work emails. I always write, have a wonderful weekend, or thanks so much for your great work. Whereas Laura, you would be like, what a waste of time.
Whatever.
Karen,
I put memes on the emails and stuff. I make them cool.
My question to Karen, I have no doubt that you're signing off with have a great weekend, but do you also remember to write what the actual email, or do you just send random emails of like, have a great weekend to everyone?
No, they're pretty erratic emails. Sometimes I just go crazy at like another worker from another organisation. I'm like, no, I can't do that for you right now. And then it's all spelt wrong. And then I end it with like, we'll have a wonderful weekend. Or like, thanks so much. No, I scream at them, and then when they give me what I want professionally, and it's for the point of advocacy, it's not a self-servicing thing. I also just sometimes need to vent a bit.
Yeah.
And then when they give me what I want, I'm like, thank you so much. I know how much you're under the pump. I know how busy things are wherever you are. Insert whatever
How
it is.
do you know that?
I don't know, but I assume, and they always love it. They fucking love it.
And I'm sure somewhere around this, like around Melbourne, people are getting emails and showing it to their friends, and they're like, "Look at this crazy social worker."
Well, you know what? They don't spell my name correctly 90% of the time, including my Leo boss. So whatever.
Yeah, Leo bosses. I can talk for hours. I had a Leo boss. He looked like a Leo, obviously, because they all do. He had this like beautiful long blonde hair. He was like so tall, beautiful, very charismatic, handsome man, working in this office with like 10 women and a gay guy, and we were all like under his ruling, and he just loved it. And he would just like play around with everyone, like start a little bit of a gossip, and then I would work. He would come to me and be like, listen, like your numbers, you need to pay more attention to like signing people up. And then 5 minutes later, he'll come out of his office again and be like, I have to read you this eulogy I wrote about my grandmother. She died 8 years ago. And he just carries the eulogy around. And he just like started reading me this like 20-minute long eulogy and crying. And he's like crying. And I'm like, okay, like I'd rather do that than my job, yes. But still, like, you can't do that. 5 minutes ago, you came out and told me off. And then you're reading me your eulogy you wrote 8 years ago about your grandma.
Would we say that maybe Leos aren't very tech savvy? I also feel like they're really not so good on the internet and with technology. They're just like, bleh.
They just... Because they just think that...
Andrew? Is Andrew?
No, I don't think he's very tech savvy either.
Who's Andrew?
Like
Andrew is Laura's boyfriend.
Yeah, my boyf. Yeah.
I think they just sit in front of the computer and they expect the computer to know what they want them to.
They never put their phone on silent. The phone's on loud and they don't know where it is.
They just, if it rings in the middle of a funeral, they're just like, sorry.
Is that mine? Is that my one? Oh.
And it's like it rings for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes, like, oh my God, I didn't notice it was me. Silly me.
Guys, yeah.
But have you ever seen a Leo who is a manager, like, lose control?
Oh.
Have you seen that?
Well,
That is something worth watching.
It's an explosion.
It is like...
It's like kryptonite. It's like Superman walking into kryptonite and losing their energy. Like they're not... They lose their power. They don't get attention or they don't get validation and they shrivel. Like a little shriveled prune.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but it's what it looks like. I'm
great
sorry.
to watch.
I'm never going to be dishonest with our listeners about what I think or feel.
Anyone is